One of my favorite verses in the Bible is a verse that I affirm to myself almost every morning, and that's Joel. It comes out of the book of Joel, chapter 2, verse 25 and 26, and it goes, and, and I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm and the palmer worm, my great army which I sent among you. And ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God that has dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. That verse really resonates with me. For one, that whole chapter resonates with me, and it has since I was a young child. I have memories of a blood moon and me quoting this chapter during a church event. And so for years, decades of my life, this chapter has meant so much to me. And in some of my darkest moments, where I feel the most pain, the most alone, and the most empty, this verse has given me the most hope. And I've done other verses like, Psalms 23, Psalms 91, prayer, Jabez. I've done lots of affirmation, and there's others that I will do in the future. But this particular one, I really want to focus on because I think that this verse can help a lot of people if they chose to occupy this state. And the state that I'm talking about is one where you've dealt with a lot of negativity and you're looking around you and you see a lot of destruction and you see that in the midst of the destruction, yeah, that's all there, but there may be people who you see as ahead of you, causing you to feel further like you're behind or there's something that you're lacking. And if any of this resonates with you, then it's likely that in those moments, you're not thinking about what you could do now to ensure that 5 years from now, you're not having that same style of meditation or conversation with yourself. It's so easy to get bogged down when things around us are incredibly tumultuous and we can't see our way out. And everything is just so overwhelming. You feel hopeless and you feel ashamed. I've been there. I've really been there. And I know you have. And when I recite this verse and I think about the early part of it, and I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten, the cankerworm and the palmer worm, my great army which I have sent among you. I tried looking up what a cankerworm and what a palmer worm were, and I got some references to some old insect, and I can't remember for which one. And I believe one, the everything we're saying it didn't necessarily actually exist, but we all know what a locust is. A locust is if I remember correctly, what a grasshopper turns into, what swarms of grasshoppers will turn into when they've begun to cannibalize and eat themselves. Um, the years that the locust hath eaten. When I think about some of my darkest times, some of the times when I wake up and I didn't even know months had passed by, and I've made so many mistakes, gone so far away from my ideal reality, my vision of who it is that I know I can be. When I look back at those years as dead years, that feeling is as overwhelming as any depressive feeling that I've experienced. And if that's the same for you, drop a comment, let me know. I think that the regret of past years is probably one of the worst regrets that we can face, because no matter how much emotion you put into those thought forms, you're not going to change that situation in the 3D reality. No matter how you mull over how the events transpired or how you remember the events transpired, there's never going to come a time where that style of meditation is going to have the desired effect that you want, which is to elevate beyond. And then you get to this scripture, and I will restore to you the years that the locust hath eaten. That's a promise. That those years that we all believe that we can't get back through physical means, that's a spiritual promise. That you will occupy that state again. That state that you occupied during those years where you have that opportunity, you will occupy that state again. So then you ask yourself, when will you occupy that state again? Then you think about it. And ye shall eat in plenty and be satisfied, and praise the name of the Lord your God that has dealt wondrously with you, and my people shall never be ashamed. And you think about this second, or this 26th verse. And you can go, like I said, and read the chapter, and I assure you, the entire chapter will be meaningful to you. But just focusing on these two verses, you look at this verse 26. If you ask the question of when, there's no time interval. It's I'll restore to you the years, and then you're eating in plenty. Those years are restored just like that. So when will the years be restored? The years will be restored in the now. The years are restored right now. If you choose to accept that right now, you have the opportunity to do whatever it is that you want. Now, you may say, I'm not in the same position that I was a decade ago. I'm not in the same position that I was 2 decades ago. Things are completely different now. I don't have that same opportunity. Okay. So let's go purely scientific on this. The atoms are not arranged in the way that they were arranged back then. That does not mean that there are no atoms that are arranged in a manner that presents an opportunity to you. No matter where you are, there is some opportunity around you that you may have been overlooking. There's some door that has been opened, just waiting for you to enter. And all you've got to do is step through. All you got to do is recognize that now is your time. When I recite this verse, these scriptures to myself in the morning, I do it along with a verse that pushes me to remember what things are good and where to place my thoughts. But even if you just recite these 2 verses, you have everything that you need right there to understand that you don't need to dive into regret. Regret is sneaky. Sneaky. You start thinking, reminiscing, and then suddenly you're in despair, anguish, tormented by the past. Not only that, your resonance at that level is creating it. So now your future is your past. Whoa. You can break the cycle. Now is the time to break the cycle. And I know you can do it. I know you will. I love you. I want to see the fullest expression of you. I hope you got something from this video. I hope something resonated with you. And if it did, please don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and this is The Spark.